How do you do? You must be Mr. Hercule Poirot. Chief Inspector Japp told me that you might be coming.
Madame, you may be of valuable help to me.
It would be my pleasure to help you. Will there be some journalists there as well?
I think you might even be interviewed. You are key witness.
I've suspected him for some time, but he appeared so harmless. Oh yes, sometimes he got angry and waved his arms about. But even then, he wasn't frightening. And he was as gentle as a lamb again immediately afterwards. It was only this morning that I understood. He told me he was going to Cheltenham, but my daughter saw him at Euston Station. It's not the right station. To get to Cheltenham, you have to take the train from Paddington. And what's more, Mr. Cuss left behind an ABC with Doncaster underlined. As you can imagine, when I saw that, I called Scotland Yard.
Well done. You were right. He did go to Doncaster.
So I was right to warn the police.
Tell me, did you have any other reason to suspect Mr. Cust?
Well, he's odd. Sometimes he coughs really loudly and complains that his throat is burning, and sometimes he talks to himself and stares into space. He told me that it was because of a wound he got in the wall. His head hasn't been quite right since, he said. And then he was in Churston when that millionaire got murdered. I found his train ticket when I washed his coat. He didn't want me to wash his shirt. He washed it himself. But I did see big brown stains on it.
Do you think it was blood?
Well, when I saw them, I thought, look, he spilled his wine or his soup all over himself. But now that I think about it, well, they did look like blood.
Cust used to travel for his work. Is that correct?
Oh, it wasn't for pleasure. He was always unwell on trains. But he had to sell his stockings around England. I have to respect my engagements, he used to say.
Do you know where Cust was at the time of the murder in Andover and Bexhill? On June the 21st and July the 25th?
No, I don't know. That was a while ago, you know.
But surely you keep a register.
It won't do you much good. Mr. Cuss rents his room for the year. If he goes away for a few days, I have no reason to make a note of it. Ah! I remember one thing. Bexhill's by the sea, right?
Indeed, it is a large seaside resort.
Well, as it happens, at the start of July, Mr. Cust asked me to repair his bathing dress. Suspicious, huh?
Very interesting. Please continue.
I also forgot to say that he started buying newspapers that talked about the case.
When did he start buying the newspapers?
Let's see. I think it was just after the millionaire's murder in Churston. He didn't seem all that interested before that.
That will be all for now. I'm going to take a look at his room.
Take the key on the counter. I don't think my register will help you. Mr. Cuss rents his room all year. If he goes away for a few days, I have no reason to make a note of it.
The truth is becoming apparent, and I have something to say to Mrs. Marbury. I have something to say to Mrs. Marbury. This woman appears to be in a good mood. Mrs. Marbury is in a good mood. She is working very precisely in producing incredibly thin peel. Mrs. Marbury, if I am to believe the register, you rented room 306 to a certain Mr. Fishman on the day of the Bexhill murder. Room 306 is Cust's room. Can you explain yourself?
Yes, I remember. Just for one night as a favour. Mr. Custer was away, all my other rooms were taken, and poor Mr. Fishman had nowhere to go.
It doesn't matter, provided that you remembered to change the sheets.
Oh, do you think so?
It looks like I've found the real master of this house. There is no need to worry about the household cat. I'm sure that Mrs. Marbury lets it do what it pleases. This dark stain. It could be blood, but goodness knows how long it has been there. A long-bladed knife. A murderer's weapon. This object would probably be useful to me. It's an ABC. Cast is parsimonious. He keeps his pencils and sharpens them until there is nothing left. It is clear that he did not grow up in luxury. Did Cast drop it when he opened the window? Or was it Mrs. Marbury while she was cleaning? John Milligan, Managing Director, Silky Legs, Frederick Street, Leicester. To A.B. Cust, Marbury's Guest House, 1935, May the 21st. Dear Sir, further to our letters dated 5th and 10th of the month, we confirm we are you as door-to-door salesman, according to the conditions stated in our previous letters. We will send you the articles by mail and also a Redfield typewriter you will be using for every business letter. Regarding the schedule of your rounds, please do as following. June 21, Andover. Arrive by train the 20th in the evening and get a room at Station Hotel. Start your turn in the north part of the town. This letter establishes that Cust went to Andover, but the ink has hidden the destinations of his other trips. I know from Mrs. Marbury that he went to Churston. I just have to show that he went to Bexhill, and I will have proved that he was present at all the crime scenes. I have to get the ribbon. How am I going to do it? The right-hand heel has been removed. The left-hand heel has been removed. And here is the ribbon. Let us see if it was indeed used to write the letters sent by ABC. I only need the ink ribbon for my inquiry. I will let Jack clean the keyboard if he wishes. All the letters announcing the murders were written on Cust's typewriter. Trousers, white shirts. Everything has been washed very well. All the main articles referring to the ABC case are here, from the Churston murder onwards. Nothing before that date. Most probably the bathing dress repaired by Mrs. Marbury's expert hands. The Bexhill Daily paper, dated from the day of the Bexhill murder. How hopeful. This place is a real mess. The least we can say that Mr. Cust is not very concerned about order and balance. Laudanum Cameron's Chemists. Laudanum, a medicine for coughs. It is what Dr. Clark prescribed for Mrs. Asher. This subject would probably be useful to me. Diethyl barbituric acid, Johnson Company. I know this medicine. It is a powerful sedative. This subject would probably be useful to me. ABC guys, enough to sign about a dozen murders. This knife is very useful. Who knows, maybe it never cut anything other than string. Stockings. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work. The register shows that Cust did not sleep at the guest house on the day of the murder. Where was he? Bexhill. The Bexhill paper reveals it. Cust bought this newspaper in Bexhill on July the 25th. No use continuing the inspection of this room. I've seen all there is to see. Goodbye, Mrs. Marbury. Thank you for your help.
Bye.
Ah, Chief Inspector. I was about to leave.
Good evening, Chief Inspector. Welcome. Please excuse me, I must go to the kitchen. I'll leave the key of Mr. Cust on the counter.
I'm sorry I'm late. I've spent ages with the Doncaster police. And you?
I have established one fact. On 3 occasions, Cust was at the scene on the day of the crimes. I had best talk to Job.
I've listened closely to what you have to say, Poirot. For me, there's no doubt Cust is guilty. Do you have any element that might prove the contrary?
That is what we're going to look for. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
The evidence against Cust is overwhelming. His presence at the scenes, the knife, the blood-stained shirt, the ABCs in a box.
C'est vrai. However, the blood Mrs. Marbury saw on Cust's shirt may have been his own. According to his medical records, he suffers from hemoptysis. The murderer cut Sir Carmichael's throat from behind, and the blood spurted outwards. You would expect the murderer's shirt to be stained on the sleeves, not on the buttonholes, yet we see quite the opposite. You would expect the murderer to keep the newspaper articles about his crimes. But Cust's collection starts in Cheston, as if it discovered the case rather late.
I agree it's troubling, but it doesn't change my mind. There's small details that we should be able to clear up by questioning Cust.
When can we talk to him?
Doncaster is sending him to us on the first train.
Are they questioning him already?
He says he can't remember a thing.
It's plausible. Doctors say he suffers from absences and amnesia. Mrs. Marbury has confirmed this.
He may have done the murders in an altered state.
A familiar situation.
It's not enough to clear his name. Dr. Thompson insisted that even if you don't know what you're doing, you never commit a murder without wanting to.
Très intéressant. I shall remember that.
Right. I'll go and examine the suspect's room.
Chief Inspector, I took the liberty of removing a few clues to examinatum.
All right, we'll discuss them tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to see if you've missed something.
To Scotland Yard, please. This man is not in good shape. He is worried and very tired, and other police have been hard on him.
What do you want from me?
Good day, Mr. Cust. I am Hercule Poirot.
Ah, you're the detective.
Yes, I am the person you have been sending the letters to.
I didn't write these letters. I've already said so.
Très bien. You did not hide these letters. But the question remains, who did?
Probably one of my enemies. I have many.
I do not believe that you are capable of murder, Mr. Cust.
I hope not.
You suffered during the war.
It's true. I was wounded. I suffered. But the army was the only place I didn't feel inferior. No questions. Just orders to follow.
But ever since you were wounded, you have absences, bouts of amnesia.
And headaches.
Professor Clark treated you.
Yes, a few years ago he really helped me with my burned throat.
Of course, you never considered killing a doctor who took such good care of you.
No, never.
Do you deny being at the scene of the crimes?
So? There was no harm in being there. It was only for my work.
You were seen at all the crime scenes.
Yes, I was. I travel a lot, but not for pleasure. I am terribly unwell in trains. But I had to respect my engagements. My employer gave me very precise written instructions about the towns I had to visit.
Let's see. The company you claim to work for, Silky Legs, has never heard of you. And as for these letters they sent you, they were written on your own typewriter.
The company sent me the typewriter when I started working for them.
Yes, but the letters were received afterwards. So it would appear that you typed them before sending them to yourself.
I don't remember. Good God! I don't know what's happening to me. My head hurts terribly.
Take this. It will help you.
Oh, I think I'll be fine.
Let us see, Cust. Look at me. You know very well that you committed these murders?
Yes, I know.
But I'm not wrong in saying that you do not know why you committed them.
No, I don't.
And what conclusions have you drawn?
Plenty. It might help us to understand him a little better. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
I don't see any clearer than before. This is worse.
There is one point to highlight. C'est curieux. Cust admits that he killed, but he does not know why. What did Dr. Thompson say? Even if Cust killed while in an altered state, it still must have been his deepest desire. He must have had a motive.
Let's keep it simple. Never mind his motive. He confessed.
But you see, he can confess to anything and everything. He denied the murders and then confessed to them. He confirmed that he never typed the letters. Then, with great ease, I managed to get him say quite the opposite.
Come on, he behaved like a guilty man. He lied to his landlady.
Because deep down he believes himself guilty. From the papers, he noticed that he had always been at the scene of the crimes. He must think that he killed and then simply forgot what he had done.
How can you be so sure?
Let us look at his psychological profile. You will understand my point of view. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work. You see, Cust's character is quite the opposite of the murderer's.
But if he's a madman, can we really talk about his character?
You know very well that our murderer does not behave like a psychopath. Apart from the signature, there is no ritual repetition in the choice of victims.
Very well, you're right as always. So we have no confession, no culprit, no suspects, nothing. And all that after 2 months of inquiry? What should I do?
Have faith. Just give me 24 hours.